Hello and welcome to episode 8 of the Double Scoop podcast. I'm a little late, usually I do these the week opposite of the newsletter, but I kinda got busy last week, but there was also something, I was gonna do it on Thursday, but there was something that was coming out this week, which came out and turned out to be what I was hoping it would be. And I wanted to talk about that on here because I feel like I'm going to also put it in the newsletter just because it's pretty big news. And I'll probably just cover it first. But something came out today that I've been following. I say following, I just check on it because they put like a countdown on their website, and it was just like a splash page with a countdown. And I was like, is this real? Is this just a scam? Like, because it looked kind of medium effort. So I was like, I don't know if this is going to be anything, but so I just had it pulled up in my like browser on my phone where you keep, your 100 tabs open all the time so you can check back on them. So it's just been coasting there, and I would check on it every, I don't know, a couple weeks or whatever, and the timer was going down. I was like, I'm just going to see what happens. And that actually happened to be today. That the timer went for yesterday. I checked it like first thing Monday morning, and it hadn't come out yet. So I think it was like you had to wait that one last day, So anyway, some housekeeping first. Just been playing guitar. We have our first gig of the year. We played a New Year's event, which has been a minute now. I mean, it's August, but we played a New Year's event and played I think like 12 songs with Cam and the Whistlers. So this is our second gig this year. We took some time off. I had a kid, so that kind of slows some stuff down. Anyway, we have a gig in a week, so I've been practicing for that. Pretty stoked. Hope it doesn't rain, because that would be kind of upsetting for it to rain like that, just in the middle of all this hard work. So it says there's like some AM showers or whatever on the news the weather that I checked. So I don't think it hopefully won't affect us. We're gonna try to run through the set that morning, and hopefully the rain avoids us or is just minimal impact on what we got going on. So really looking forward to that. But like I said, I've been playing some guitar in preparation for that. I haven't been doing as much pedal building. I say that. I can't remember if I'd already started like trying to do the PCB and schematic design last time I talked about this, but that's in progress. I'm hoping to have something prototyped by the end of this month. But speaking of my pedals, the pedal giveaway was announced today, and I'm just going to switch over to who won. So this is Stego Studios. They do dinosaur-themed pedals. He's got a lot. I think he designs all of these himself. I don't know if he's ever posted a gut shot. Some people do, and you'll see that they buy PCBs and put them together, but maybe this guy designs his own. I'm not entirely sure. But they're still super cool. I do love that they are dinosaur themed, and he seems to really crank them out. And his demos sound good. I do like that he's like dinosaur, but like not one art style. Like he's got a lot going on. So I'm talking to him, trying to get his information so I can send him this pedal. Just for so you can see it on screen. This is it. I made 3 posts about it, and this was the winner's post. I'm not so thrilled with how this art turned out, but I hadn't prepped anything in advance, and I should have, but I did not. So I had to do something, and I just put everybody in a name generator from who liked the post, because the the email list kind of fell apart. I don't know why, but it gets like 10 submits a day, and I know they're spam, but I've got the recaptcha on it. I don't know what the problem is. So, but I'm just kind of working with it. Maybe they're legit, but I'm building filters and everything in my emails, in the email flow, so I can at least I can at least figure out which ones are the bad ones, because some of them seem real. So I don't know if I'm just getting, if it's actually spam or what. So that it is kind of frustrating, but I was still able to just use the likes from the actual entry post and put everybody together. So yeah, Stego Studios, check them out. They are on Reverb. I don't know if they have their own site because he only links to the Reverb. So yeah, I'm glad he won it. He's already hit me up, so I'm just trying to get his address so I can send it out to him. But that was fun. I guess I learned a lot on my first giveaway. We'll move forward, onward and upward from this. But it was still a lot of fun. I think I maybe should have had a little bit more interaction with Instagram while I was doing it, and maybe promoted it on YouTube a little bit. I know I talked about it on the podcast, but I didn't do any like promo videos for it. Like I could have done some shorts to base it off of, or something like that, or to run it from. So that was my bad. But overall, I think it was fun, and I got to put something fun together, and yeah, somebody got to win it. So if anything, it just puts something that I made in front of somebody else that makes pedals, and then I can kind of get a feel. Like I'll be like, hey man, tear this apart. Like, tell me it's bad, So if anything, I can still learn and grow from it. So that's awesome. But yeah, congrats to him. Glad he got to win it. And yeah, I think that's all I wanted to talk about as far as just upfront stuff. Yeah, okay, so the big news, like I said, I've been waiting for this for over 2 months. I forget when I first saw the countdown, but it was into the, I want to say it was triple digits. I might be exaggerating, but whatever. Anyway, Sunn amplifiers are back, and that's amazing. So they have the 100S, the 200S, the Beta Lead, and then the Beta Lead Pre. Bass amps. Well, I guess you can use the Beta Lead because I know Buzz from the Melvin uses this for his guitar amp. It's just like the solid state, and then they have the Beta, and then they have monitors. They have cabinets, which is, I mean, this is awesome stuff to see this brand come back after knowing that they got bought out by Fender. I think they re-released some stuff like the Model T, and now they're back releasing some of their older stuff like this, the 100S and the 200S are some of their older amplifiers. And I think there's like a 1200S, and then of course the Model T. There's a 300T, which I think is a bass head that's all tube. I think Fender also re-released that one. I love that, the sound you can feel. But I saw Sunn, the band, who run 8 Model Ts just on. I saw them in Pelham, Tennessee, in the cave, what is that cave called? The Caverns. And it was unreal. It was very cool. So yeah, like I said, I've been following this for a minute, and I was like, maybe it'll be something. Maybe, this will be for real, and it's not just like a weird scam or something. Like, that's just my default go-to for that thing. But they posted a lot of stuff leading up to it. I started to believe that it was like going to be for real because they were just posting old pictures, and I'm like, this could be literally anybody that just got the handle and was just making it, filling up an Instagram page, and nothing was actually going to come of this. Like, it could have been t-shirts. Like, who knows what the countdown was for? So I was just like cautious about just following along. So I wouldn't be super disappointed. So I'm even more stoked that it actually turned out to be as cool as it is, with them re-releasing amplifiers and reviving the brand, which is very storied, obviously. I've read through some of this history, but I mean, they were used by Jimi Hendrix. A lot of people used Sunn amplifiers, which was a modified Bassman, Yeah, it talks about it here. It was these two brothers that did it, um, but they took a basement apart, and that's what became the foundation for like the first Sunn amp. And they were just trying to get the loudest, clean sound they could. And then, of course, that just gives you this all this huge headroom and everything. And then they just evolved from there. And then eventually get to the obviously the Model T, which is ridiculous. I mean, I do believe they're in the $4,000 range, which will lead me to how much the new ones are. Yeah, so 5,500. Yeah, 4,300. There was a time when they were cheaper than that. There was they were $2,000. I saw one in Kentucky for $2,000. I want to say on Craigslist, but it might have been on here. And I was like, man, that's probably the cheapest one I'm going to see for a long time. And it was, obviously this is the last one I can think of that was that cheap. Because these are not. They're 3,200 for just the head, but I believe they are all U.S. handmade. Let's go to their Instagram page. I'll show you the post that got me paying more attention, I guess. This one, when I saw that they had the printed boards with the year on it and like the actual preamp PCB and parts put in it, that were through hole and all of that, I was like, okay, maybe this is for real. Maybe they're actually going to do something. And then of course I see the 100S. So I'm like, are they bringing back just the 100S, or are they going to do everything? What's the plan here? Yeah, this is what the countdown looked like. And I was like, is this for real? Because it seemed low effort, right? And then they're just posting old pictures. And then this is the one that I was like, okay, maybe this is something. And then, yeah, like I said, I would just check. I remember the timer dropped like 50 days because I just did not pay attention. But I wrote it on my calendar and I knew that was coming out. But yeah, it's wicked that you get to see, you're like living through the revival of a storied amp brand. It's like something like this doesn't happen so often because a lot of older amp brands are still just continuing doing what they're doing, or they've died off, or they lost favor in the market and then they tanked. And so it's like whenever you revive something like that, like there's less hype around it. But whenever they've been radio silent as long as they have, and you get a massive release like this, like done right, I mean, everything looks good. The website looks good. Their Instagram, while not a ton of posts, it looks really good. Let's see. Okay, I guess you can invest with them. Did they? That's weird. I guess maybe they had like an investment group that bought the brand. I really have no idea because I thought it was, like I said, it was bought by Fender, and then they re-released some stuff, and then nothing has happened. So, here we go. Let's check the FAQ. The intellectual property, the Sunn name logo, is owned by Fender. The new Sunn team has licensed the rights. Oh, okay, so they're using the rights of the Sunn branding. Okay, the design and manufacture of Sunn products is all done by Sunn in our own factories and with our own staff. Huh. I didn't see this part about where you could join in and I guess help them pay the licensing fee, and then you're part owner based off some sort of investment thing. I mean, that's super cool. I wonder what other intellectual property is just bookshelved right now that you could just pay the licensing fee and just use the name and build the product. But then I wonder, you couldn't like intentionally tank somebody's intellectual property. I have no idea, but that's very interesting. Let's see, they're producing the 100S, the 200S, the solid state betas. let's see. Great URL. Okay, it's just redirecting to the homepage. Okay, yep. Manufactured in the USA. Yeah, I thought they were all going to be handmade. Excuse me. Wow, this is. I'll have to check this out more, but what about the band? Let's go. Oh, so they're not affiliate. I guess that makes sense because they're. I mean, they're named after the amplifiers, but and it's also like an ode to Earth, the band. Wow, that's wicked. I didn't know all the extra details here, so I'm glad we discovered that together. But what an awesome Mike Eldred. His name sounds familiar. I don't know these other people. Yeah, that's it's really cool to see this and be um, just around and paying attention when a big thing like this happens. Yeah. Anyway, Sunn amps are back. They're a little pricey, but they are, from as far as I can tell, well made and probably worth it. Oh wow, that's only $800 for the. I mean, you could probably let's see how much. I instantly, whenever I saw it was the 100S, I immediately went to Reverb and tried to look up how much 100Ss were going for. Just because I saw the price, I was like, okay, is that going to jack up the OG ones? Because that's what usually happens. Yeah, I mean, it's cheaper than the old one. And if it's solid state, it's not going to be, so different as far as like the tubes and the older components and everything like that. I think it'll be a little bit closer. This might even be a little bit cleaner and more reliable, made with better parts, all that stuff. But yeah, just way too cool. I don't know when the releases are, and how this is gonna work. So I guess it could still fall on its face. So, but as for right now, at this moment in time, pretty stoked. All right, I'm gonna move on to this. I tried to find a price on this. We're gonna talk about prices in the next story as well. But this was really cool. This is Stevie Ray Vaughan's Ibanez Tube Screamer, sold by Chicago Music Exchange, and I could not find a price. Somebody did buy it, but I couldn't find a price for how much it sold for. And it doesn't really say where it came from. It's just like, here's his, here's the tube screamer that he used. And there's no telling how much it sold for. I wanted to use this to lead into this one with Jim Irsay, who was offered over $1 billion to sell his guitar collection to I guess some Saudi billionaires, people that were throwing down the oil money to buy this guitar collection. And I thought he had an interesting point. He turned it down. He's already a billionaire, so I guess it wasn't it was obviously more valuable for him to keep these guitars. Not saying these guitars are worth $1 billion, but I think he just sees it differently, and that is explained further down, where he talks about he sees himself more of a custodian of these instruments instead of an owner. So he understands that he's like, it's worth, he's not losing $1 billion, but he says it's worth turning down that deal so he could be in control of these instruments and make sure they're taken care of. Because if he's paid a ton of money for a lot of these guitars. I'll talk about the prices in a second, but he's doing more than just owning them and looking at them. He's taking care of them because they are pieces of musical history that if he feels if they were left in the hands of somebody else that he feels isn't going to take as good a care of them, then that's not worth it to him, because he knows these instruments are going to outlive him. And I thought that was such a interesting and cool take to have on something like this, where you see, I think I talked about this, and which one was it? The one with Uh, it was selling the Beast Les Paul. Is that which one? It was one of the original bursts, and I can't remember which one it was. It was an earlier episode, but some guy turned down like $1.1 million for his '59 Les Paul. And it's like I talked about being a steward of that actual guitar. Like it's something that transcends the money that you would get for it, because then you just have money. You don't have control over something that is going to outlive you, and you get to designate where it goes to next. And you don't do that based off money. You do that based off of intention and understanding that they have like the same feeling and thought process of, I have to take care of this, otherwise it will be lost to, the eons of time, and nobody will know about this, or nobody will care as much or something. I'm not sure. I wonder how music will continue to age, because it seems like the older the stuff gets, the more, obviously, gear and stuff, the more valuable it gets, but I guess the more it's like treasured and revered and based off of, because we built so much from these early records of, the 50s and the 60s. Some of the, stuff that we don't listen to today, but is still fundamentally part of our everyday music. And I wonder if it's gonna just keep going up in like quote unquote value because it's foundational and because it's, I don't know, the first time X or Y happened in a song. And the first time X or Y happened was played with David Gilmour's Black Strat. And that's one of the guitars. I'm just trying to segue myself here before I just spun out of control. That's one of the guitars he bought, was David Gilmour's Black Strat for $3.9 million. And I'm not sure, I can't remember the details around why it sold that much, or like what it was. Maybe there was some reason that it sold for so much other than just that, like maybe it was a charity auction or something. I'm not entirely sure. He also has Jerry Garcia's Tiger guitar, which is, if I'm thinking of the right guitar, it's kind of ugly. It's kind of an ugly guitar. Yeah. It's not the prettiest looking thing, and it's got so much going on. But it's like whenever you're, as legendary as Jerry Garcia, you dream up something, and that's his, dream guitar that helps him do what he needs to do to get stuff done. So, or to get his music played and express himself how he needs to, and that's the guitar that he needs to do it with, But sometimes those guitars are ugly. But that's the best part about. I say that's the best part. One of the best parts about just playing guitar and finding out what you like, what you want it to look like, how you want it to sound, what you want it to do. A lot of people just, and I don't think there's anything wrong with this, a lot of people just take the standard off-the-shelf thing, and that's what they roll with. But I feel like some of the best guitar players experiment with the instrument itself, not just learning how to play and music theory and all of the other like important stuff to actually play the instrument, but modifying it to yourself to play it a little bit better or make it yours. And then I feel like that inspires you and is kind of self-fulfilling in making your own music and, yada yada, all that stuff. But I do feel like that is a cool thing about this guitar, despite I think it's ugly, but he thinks it's awesome, and it has helped him make so much crazy music. And it's like some of that foundational music I was talking about that just, is stuff that we hear every day, but it's not very obvious, but it's, what stuff is built from. But yeah, that was one of the guitars that he bought. He's also bought the Bob Dylan Stratocaster, this one right here with this ashtray cover, which is sweet. I love an ashtray cover on a Stratocaster. Also for just under $1 million. Same thing with the Tiger. And then also the Gibson SG that George Harrison used on Revolver. $500,000. Is that an album? I don't know the Beatles at all. That's probably pretty sad, despite how much I'm talking about older music. especially right now. Let's see his whole collection. I wonder if there's just like a gallery or something for me. Okay, there's a whole website. Let's go. Oh, I got another countdown. I can't deal with another countdown. I can't do it. What does this mean? Show me your collection. Is this where... Oh, does he tour the collection? Actually? Oh, maybe that's what the countdown is for tickets to it. Maybe he's got stuff on his Instagram. Okay, well, there's that ugly guitar again. You think they would post each one of the guitars? I guess they do. It just says the collection. It doesn't say... Yeah, so it's not the original Jimmy Page double neck. So I don't know. Maybe this is not what I thought it was. I just wanted to see like list of guitars. That's it. Oh wow, that's wild. That's very nice. I wonder if he's like a big player too, or if he's more of a collector kind of guy. Because I feel like there's a fine line. Like you fall off of being a player and you're more into like the gear and once you're a billionaire, you can just go buy any guitar. So that's what I was seeing there. It's just like you're just buying similar guitars. Do you have the OG one? Do they still have it? Like I wanted a little bit more. I was just saying the same thing. The list goes on and on, but we're not going to add any more. It's like they repurposed this article because they're using the same photos and stuff. Anyway, that was, I think that was kind of the last thing that I wanted to talk about. I was hoping I could spin off and find more of the actual guitars that are in his collection. Let's see, is there any... Nope, that was... Oh, there was this... I wanted to talk about this. I just couldn't find all the gear. Jack White auctioned off a bunch of the White Stripes gear from, I guess the earlier years. Yeah. But it says that it already ended, and I missed all the items, and I just wanted to see the items. I sat here for a minute waiting to see if that would load into anything. But it does look like Meg's kit from... Oh no, what is the... I think it's Elephant. Oh man. I should probably do a little bit more research before I just kind of start rattling stuff off. Is this it? Kinda. I want to say the music videos for Elephant had that bass drum in there. Because this set seems very iconic for the, red and white kind of vibe they had going on. I was really hoping I could find the instruments and just kind of talk through them and see if I saw anything that I recognized or could bring some more context to. But I did not have... Oh, this one's fun. So I know that this is because the mold... This is me regurgitating Know Your Gear, but I feel like it's interesting information where they basically have a mold, and I guess the highest bidder paid for the mold, and then whatever, they like Epiphone has leftover bridges or whatever, they sell them to Squire, and it just says Epiphone because it costs money to make the mold to pour the bridges that are cast. So instead of buying a whole new mold, they'll just buy Epiphone's bridges. So I guess that works out at a bottom line kind of situation. So, yeah, I was really hoping there was... I could talk about this. Greta Van Fleet's guitar player is getting an Epiphone signature, which is pretty cool. It's going to be based off his 61 Les Paul SG when they transitioned from... Because 1960 was the last... Les Paul year, and then in 61 they introduced the Les Paul, like, but it was the SG shape, which eventually became the SG, which I think stands for standard guitar or something like that. But they recently came through Birmingham, and one of my friends went. The singer of Cam and the Whistlers, Cam, went, and they also had, oh, what is that band's name? I know the song, Dreamer of the Dawn. Crownlands. I knew it was Lands. They opened up for him, and I love Crownlands. If I would have known that, I maybe would have tried to see if I could go. But Crownlands is awesome. It's two people, guitar player who plays like bass synth, and the drummer sings. And then I think the guitar player also sings. It's wild. And he also plays keyboard. It's only two guys, and they make so much music. It's absolutely wild. But they opened up for Greta Van Fleet. But he said they were incredible, and then Greta Van Fleet was also insane. And they're rock and roll. I can honestly say I don't listen to a ton of them. I've heard the Highway song and a couple of the other ones. But I mean, they're a straight up rock band, which is awesome to see. Them having a ton of success just playing, rock and roll. It's awesome. So, I mean, maybe these guys will be the ones that are, the ones that we kind of look back on with favor, and their gear is the stuff that we're after. Like maybe, well, I feel like so many people have played SGs, and they just don't have quite the value that Les Pauls have. But I wonder if that'll change. I wonder if like the Les Pauls will get all ate up, and untouchable, and the SG will gain a lot more popularity. Who knows? Sorry, I did not mean to bump the microphone. Alright, that's really all I had. So some of the stuff I popped up, and I was like, I'll talk about this, but I just don't really have anything of value to offer. But I really loved this take on being a custodian of all of these nice guitars and making sure they don't fall into disarray. And like, he's already a billionaire. He doesn't need another $1 billion, but just being able to turn down $1 billion from somebody that just has money and wants to spend it on stuff just to spend it, whereas he's like, no, I have to make sure these guitars are well taken care of, and I just don't feel good about, offloading them onto somebody else. And maybe in the future there is a deal worked out where he gets even more money, but he also gets to check on the guitars and make sure they're good, or like come see him at the drop of a hat to make sure they're being well taken care of and everything, and he can feel good about how he's handing it off. But man, I really wish I could have found. Let me try one more search to see if I could. Let's say total collection tour. Oh, that's what I'm already looking at. I want the total collection. The tour is what I saw. I think he's touring. That's what this countdown is for. It's probably like tickets or days until. Yeah, that makes sense, right? 37. Yeah, 37 days. Yeah, Indianapolis. So that's the countdown for that event. But I really wanted to see. Oh, cool. He's got Kurt Cobain's guitar. Yeah, so this is what you could go see. Oh, the Edge's guitar. Wow. Well, now that I'm seeing this, I kind of hate that I didn't go to this one in Nashville. Granted, it was 2 years ago, but so maybe there'll be Indianapolis. He is the owner of the Colts. I don't think I said that, but yeah, he's the owner of the Colts. He's a billionaire, but he's also super into guitar collecting. So you could go see this. This is wicked, and there's a band playing. Oh, now I wonder if they're doing covers from all the artists of the guitars. I don't know. Maybe I should read more into it before I just start speculating. Theory crafting. Yeah, I really wanted to see top to bottom, but maybe they don't want you to see that. So you'll come to the tour. Yeah, the Edges Explorer, that's really cool. Yeah, and then there's the Kurt Cobain Mustang. It seems like these, you see all of these at the front. Oh, and yeah, and the Gilmore Strat. Yeah, it's right there. $3.9 million. That guitar right there. Unreal. Maybe he does play. That's cool. Ooh, what about... Oh, that's Joe Bonamassa. He's got a great collection, too. And I think he has that same mindset of being like a steward and making sure these things are taken care of. But I also feel like he's a giant gear nerd. So, he may think about it a little bit differently, but he's got an awesome collection. I would love to go to his place. I think it's in California. I thought it was in Nashville for the longest time until I looked it up one day and I was like, no, it's not in Nashville, because I wanted to go. I was like, oh man, we should take a guitar trip to Nashville because it's really just exploded. Past 10 years or whatever. So I wanted to go up there, and then I found out, it's not there. It's somewhere else. All right, yeah, but awesome stuff, especially with the Sunn amplifiers coming back. I love that. You love to see it. I have a Sunn sticker on my car, and it's for both. That's the best part. It works for the amps, and it works for the band. And now it is even more relevant for the amplifiers. I wonder if this is the mark they have to use, though. Because it used to just be... No, I guess they get that. So I guess maybe that's just for clarification. I wouldn't put the amps on there. I would just put Sunn. But maybe there's a little bit of history there. Maybe I don't know. Anyway, this is wicked. Love it. Very excited to see what is to come and kind of how the release works. Maybe they could have done... That's cool. Maybe they could have done a little bit more merch. I mean, come on. You could have just done this. Like the half of this. Like this on here. Come on. Easy. Sold out instantly. I wonder if these are even available. Because I know the amplifiers aren't. Yeah, I guess so. Shipping in mid-August. Limited edition design. Yeah, it's weird that they have to use the Sunn amps mark. Well, I guess they use it here. So I guess they have access to both. I don't know. Anyway, like I said, sticker on the back of the car. The back of the car. I keep on wanting to say guitar. Dual purpose now. I mean, it was before, but even more so since they're looking to try to grab some active market share. Anyway, that's gonna do it for me. Just wanted to get on here and run my mouth about some Sunn amplifiers, so I was pretty stoked about that. Yeah, got a gig in a week. I hope it does not rain. We're doing about 25 songs. Play for 2 hours. We have a set 1 and a set 2 with a little break. And we're going to get some practice in this weekend. And grip it and rip it on Tuesday next week. I'm very excited. I hope it doesn't rain. Really hoping it doesn't rain, because that would just bum me out. I've had several years ago, I was playing, we were going to play a local festival, and I was so amped up, and it was, how many songs were we doing? We were doing like 9 or 10 songs, and they were fun to play. I think we were doing Welcome to the Black Parade by My Chemical Romance. I was amped. What other songs were we doing? I think we were playing Beat It. Michael Jackson, What I've Done by Linkin Park. We were kind of all over the place. But that was with some of the guys that I worked with. The guy that owned the company that I worked for. He could sing and play guitar, and it was just going to be fun. And then it rained. And then, yeah, it rained, and then the day of the event, because it was an AV company that he owned, it was like, we were offering the sound or sponsoring the sound or whatever for the event. And so we got to play. I think that's how it worked out. Maybe there's a little elbow rubbing. Is that right? Whatever. A little back scratch. But it rained, and not only did I not get to play the show, I had to go tear down the AV equipment in the rain. So that sucked, because he called me, and he was like, "Hey, it's raining. We're not." And I'm like, "Oh, do I have to come help tear down?" He's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Oh, that sucks." Because it was a part-time job, so I was like, maybe you won't make me do it because I think it was a Saturday. So yeah, that sucked. It double sucked because we didn't get to play, and then I had to go work in the rain. But at least I got to practice and jam, play some guitar. So that's what came out of that. But hopefully that does not happen. And I mean, if it rains, we won't have to set up the AV. But or I guess it's just audio. Anyway, no rain, lots of practice. You should play guitar, find a backing track, learn a scale. I don't know. Look at some gear. Check out Sunn apps. I wish that would pay me to say that because a percentage on $3,000 would be pretty nice, but we'll get there one day. But yeah, thanks for hanging out. I will see you at the end of this week with the newsletter. I'll probably talk about Sunn amps again, so get ready for that. I'll have the Gibson Mod Shop pick, and we'll be rocking and rolling. All right, you guys have a good one. I will see y'all in